Welcome to the Online Success Journey Podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey Podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 96. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Kevin Donlin, a copywriter and marketing advisor for clients big and small, delivering sales gains of more than $1 million on multiple occasions with web pages, email promotion, sales letters, and print ads. Hello, Kevin.
Hi, Patience. Thanks for having me today.
Okay, I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell a little bit about your background, what you did before you started your online business?
Well, I was in another life. After college, I played in a rock band in Detroit, Michigan. I was an English teacher and a textbook writer in Tokyo, and managed a record store in Detroit, Michigan, and then moved to Minnesota in 1994, where I started working for a marketing communications firm in early 1995, and since then I've been involved in marketing in one form or another.
Wow. Why do you do what you do, Kevin?
Well, copywriting is, a great definition of copywriting is salesmanship multiplied. So if you're able to sell something one-to-one in a phone call or in a meeting, what I do is help multiply your sales by creating a sales letter that can reach thousands of people, for example, or a video, which could maybe reach millions on the internet. But I really get a big thrill out of helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses by, finding out what's working for them and helping multiply their success.
If you are going to help them find what is working them, don't we need like a big loan, or how analog marketing can grow a business without breaking a bank?
Well, without breaking the bank, an easy way to find out what's working, this is going to sound very simple, but it's to ask your clients, why did you do business with me? What made you decide to buy from us? Most people don't do that. But if you can just talk to the people who are already giving you money now and just ask them, why did you decide to do business with us? You'll be really surprised more often than not about what's really causing people to buy. For example, in a previous business I had, which was resume writing, I asked everybody, why did you decide to do business with me? And their answers were, you had a money-back guarantee, or I was referred to you, or you had more than 20 pages of testimonials on your website. So I thought you were pretty good at what you did. And I wouldn't have thought of two of those at least. So it was a surprise to me. But, when you find out why people are buying, you just take that message and make sure you repeat it over and over and over again. And it's not much more difficult than that. There's no breaking the bank. You don't need any technology to ask people. So that's something that almost anybody can do starting today.
You think anyone can do that? Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
Oh, very good question. No, not everybody can do this. Not at all. There are plenty of people who are smart enough, but they can't work for themselves. They can't budget their time, or they change direction every 30 days. I know people who have great ideas and they get distracted or bored and never follow up. And so I would say most people can't do this. Most people are not cut out to be entrepreneurs. What they end up doing is creating a job for themselves. And instead of having one boss, you've got hundreds of bosses. They're called your clients or your customers. And most people just, no, most people are not meant to be entrepreneurs. That's my firm belief.
Wow. Okay, you've been in business for many years. What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
I think it's related to managing my time. I'm very good at blocking out time on my schedule to get stuff done. Again, that sounds like a basic thing. But, the night before, when I finish work for today, I plan out tomorrow. And I take the 3 most important things I have to do tomorrow and fill out my schedule, my calendar, block off time. I just make sure those things get done. The second thing I do, and it's becoming increasingly difficult, but I'm pretty good at avoiding distractions. I try to keep my cell phone in the other room, for example. I never answer my phone live unless I'm expecting your call. So if you can, block off your time, work by yourself, or have a partner to hold you accountable, and then avoid distractions, that's a big part of success. That's going to sound incredibly basic, I'm afraid, but I've been doing it since 1998, so it's been working for me. And it's surprising when you talk to a lot of people. If you try to call, if you have 10 friends who are entrepreneurs and you call all of them, I bet 9 of them will answer the phone. And to me, that means that they're not being strategic. They're being reactive. If you're answering your phone or checking email every 15 minutes, you're being reactive. You're playing defense. And that's no way to really get ahead. You've got to play offense. You've got to do what you need to do when you work best. If you're a morning person, don't be doing email in the morning. If you're an evening person, don't be doing email in the evening. You got to find out when your most productive time of day is. Block off at least 3-4 hours of solid work time and just get the stuff done. So this is this is not a high-tech answer. I'm afraid if people are expecting some sort of an app for that, there's no app that's going to manage your day for you. Despite what you may have heard, it's just you, and you're the only person you can depend on. Now, having said that, another thing that's been really helpful for me is I've been a member of a mastermind group of one form or another since 1998. Do you think your listeners, are familiar with the concept of mastermind, or should I define it?
Yeah, we have a kind of a glimpse, but what is it all about? I think if we get there, we might get even lost.
Yeah, so a mastermind is simply, it's kind of like your own board of directors. These are people you know and trust and admire. Ideally, they're not in the same industry as you. If you're an attorney, you should have a CPA, you should have an insurance salesman, you should have a marketer, maybe even, a mommy blogger. But you want to be in touch regularly with 3, 4, 5 people who are as successful as you or more so. And the concept was popularized, of course, in a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. But basically, your mastermind group, you need to meet with these people at least once a month, either in person or by phone. I have 2 groups. I meet with one group, and I'm a member of 3, actually. I meet with 2 in person and 1 by phone. And basically, what you do is you say to the group, here's my challenge this month, and how can you help me? And everyone brainstorms and tries to help you find a solution. And at the end of your time, you say, okay, here's what I'm going to commit to doing before our next meeting. And so the mastermind is an incredible example of synergy. When you're talking to people outside your industry that you admire and who are successful, they're going to come up with ideas that you never would have thought of on your own. They're going to have different points of view, and they're going to help you find solutions that you never, ever would have found on your own. So I think that probably, the more I think about it, a mastermind group could be my biggest success secret, the more I think about it, because I've been in one almost since the day I started in business. So that's been incredibly helpful for me.
Okay. What are common marketing mistakes most entrepreneurs and small business owners making in today's?
I think so. We're talking about online marketing here today. So I'm going to say something that maybe people don't want to hear, but I think a big mistake is trying to do everything online. I've been doing online marketing since 1994. I sold one of the first ebooks. Maybe it was the first, but I sold it by email in 1994. So I get that online marketing is attractive and it's fun, it's cheap, it lets you reach the whole world. But especially if you sell a service, which is an intangible, you can't touch it, it doesn't ship to you in a box, you need to become real to your prospects and clients. You need to become tangible. So what I suggest everybody do is to just use at least a little bit of direct mail in what you're doing. In addition to making phone calls, anyone who buys something from you on your website or social media or any place, you need to call them as soon as possible and just thank them. It's not hard. But if you can call people and engage them right away, thank you for purchasing, I really appreciate it. Just make a human connection. I can tell you, for example, that I was just paying a company about $500 a month for a service, and I quit after 3 months. The service wasn't delivering, but almost as important was the fact that they never really engaged me. The president delegated everything, and I know it was just a small business, but she seemed to be aloof to me and never replied to my emails. She never called me. A couple of her underlings did, and they did a poor job of it. They missed phone appointments with me, and they just messed up on the little things. The service itself wasn't bad, but I got a really bad impression. And then when she did send me a welcome kit, there was just a slapdash postcard with just a signature and about 10 words on it. So they did a poor job of engaging me at the beginning. And if they had done a little better job, I might have stuck around for more than a few more months, maybe paid them a couple $1,000 more. But that's an example from my own life about, failing to engage with your customers offline in the real world can cost you some big bucks. So the biggest mistake I see with online marketers is failing to engage offline, and it's easy as heck to fix. It could be as easy as making a phone call or sending a handwritten thank you note. Again, no technology needed, and it's just a few pennies. No matter where you live in the world, a thank you note does not cost a lot of money to send out.
Wow. Okay. What are marketing multipliers?
So that's my subscription service. It's also the title of my new book. But marketing multipliers. So let me back up a bit. My main job is I work as a copywriter, and it's typically $5,000 to $72,000, $78,000 to hire me for a project. So for the right business, it's affordable. But for many entrepreneurs, that's a bit of a big check to write. So I created a business called Marketing Multipliers. It is a monthly subscription service. Every month I send out a tool to my members, and it's typically a tool that helps people, not need to pay for my expensive skills. So they're based on a military term called force multipliers, which is anything added to a fighting force that makes it more effective. So for example, if you have better weapons than the other guy, you've got a force multiplier. If you have good morale, good training, if you're defending a good piece of ground, you've got a force multiplier. So a marketing multiplier is anything that makes your marketing more effective. It's typically something that's a small action. It's low cost or no cost, and it's often tangible. I was just talking earlier, for example, about thank you notes. A thank you note is a perfect example of a marketing multiplier. I have one of my blog readers. He did something very smart. So your readers are going to like this. So here's an example of a marketing multiplier. I call it the $10,800 thank you note. Would you mind if I told a quick story about this?
Oh, yes, please. Would like a story.
Okay, so this was one of my readers who was a personal trainer. His name was Mark. And every time a client would come in for a sample lesson or their first lesson, he would write and mail them a thank you note the same day. And one of his new clients liked this so much, she was just kind of blown away by it. She took a picture of his thank you note, which came in the mail, and she posted it on Facebook. So let me stop here. So this is an offline marketing tactic that instantly became an online marketing tactic because his client took a picture and put it on Facebook. So the picture of his thank you note on Facebook got, I think, 68 likes. But more importantly, it brought him 3 new clients. People in that woman's network saw her nice note on Facebook, came in and became clients of Mark. Wow. And when you total up their annual revenue, those 3 new clients are worth $10,800 to him over the course of their lifetime. So that's an example of a marketing multiplier. It's a thank you note sent at the right time to the right person. In this case, it produced $10,000 in revenue. That's why thank you notes are a perfect marketing multiplier. They're low cost, they're simple, and they're tangible. So that's an example.
Mm-hmm. You said you have a new book. What is your new book?
Well, the book is called, oddly enough, Marketing Multipliers. It's the same title as my website. But okay. It came out in March. And inside are 11 different tools described. One of them is the $10,800 thank you note, just like that.
Wow. Okay. You said people how to sell more of your service by making it real. Do you mean other people are not selling their services, making it real? What do you mean?
Well, by this I mean most people are trying to sell a service strictly online. So if I'm looking at your website, that's not real. That's intangible. I can't touch bits and bytes on a computer screen. Most people are trying to sell their services or their products for that matter. If you're online, it's intangible. And there's a completely different part of your brain that lights up when you're looking at an email or you're looking at a web page versus holding a letter and reading the thing. And when you're physically touching a communication from someone else or hearing their voice on the phone or on a podcast like this, it lights up different parts of their brain. And it actually makes a deeper emotional connection. So that's why, again, for most businesses, if you're trying to do it all online, it's a mistake for you.
Wow. So when shall we get like intangible with our marketing business? Shall we wait when we have made enough money, or when is the right time?
Well, the right time, it depends on the business. There's nothing wrong with having intangible online marketing, nothing wrong at all. Just don't depend on it solely to do the selling for you. So the answer is it depends. For example, if I meet someone in person, I'm going to a seminar tomorrow, I'll probably meet about 5 or 10 people, some of whom may become clients or partners. I'll meet them in person, but then I'll send them an email at some point, and I'll probably send them a thank you note or something else. So I can meet them tangibly and then follow up intangibly. That's fine. But if I meet you intangibly online first, I should try to meet you tangibly with something physical as soon as possible. So they go together. My advice is if you meet someone online, try to touch them offline. And if you meet someone offline, try to touch them online. You want to combine the two.
Wow. Okay, you said you are a member of 3 mastermind groups. Do you have a coach or a mentor in your business?
I do. Yeah, I belong to something called Strategic Coach. It's run by a fellow by the name of Dan Sullivan. So 4 times a year I fly to Toronto and sit in a room with about 15 other people, and we brainstorm and help each other. So that's an example of, he's probably my number 1 business coach. There are others that I follow through their books and newsletters, but Dan Sullivan's been a big influence on me. So has Dan Kennedy, Brian Tracy, Jay Abraham. It's a long list.
Wow.
The more coaches and mentors you have, generally speaking, the more successful you're going to be. So you really can never have too many, as long as you're putting their ideas into action. That's the important thing.
Okay. What is the most valuable thing your mentor has told you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think, from Dan Sullivan, I've learned a lot of stuff. One of the most important things I've learned is that you need to block off time to rejuvenate yourself. If you're working 7 days a week, you're going to burn out. You're going to get sick of your business, and your family's going to get sick of you. So he teaches a concept called free days, which means it's a 24-hour period where you're not thinking or doing anything about business. You're just doing stuff that you enjoy personally. So for me, a free day means my computer is shut off. It's in my office. The door is closed. I'm not going in there. I'm not reading any business magazines. I'm going to get outside, walk the dog, play golf, hang out with my friends, whatever. So one of the most important things I learned, and it's really counterintuitive as entrepreneurs, we really just want to work all day, right? You've been told that you have to work hard and that it's long hours. Fine, I get that. But if all you're doing is working, you are going to burn out. It's 100% certainty. So you need to take time to rejuvenate. And that's one of the most valuable things I've ever learned. It's the concept of rejuvenating free days.
Mm-hmm. What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
I would say it's advice that someone actually acted on. It doesn't happen so often. Most people, when you give them free advice, they forget about it or ignore it. But I was speaking at my alma mater, Michigan State University, about 8 years ago. I remember this. And I was talking to a group of juniors. They were all kind of student leaders and high achievers. There were probably 50 in the room. And I told them, I gave them a reading list of books. One of them was Think and Grow Rich. The other was How to Win Friends and Influence People. There was a third one. So I said, here's what I'll do. If you read these 3 books and send me a book report on each, and it's like just a page long, but if you read these 3 books and send me a book report, I will get on the phone and mentor you every month for about an hour tops, for the rest of your working career. I'll make that promise to you. because I would be happy to help anyone who's going to take action on some ideas. And I think these 3 books are, some of the best things you can ever do for yourself. So if you read them and send me, 50 kids in the room, 1 person actually took the advice, and she sent me her book reports by email. And I talked to her on the phone several times over the years, mentored her. She worked for the European Union for a while. She got a very high level job over in the European Union. Now she's traveling the world quite a bit. She's doing international sales, but she's a very successful person. She's now probably in her late 20s. So I guess that was, one of the most valuable things I've given away was my advice, because it was actually acted on in that one instance. For many of us, however, it's really frustrating to give advice to people because they're simply not going to take it.
Wow, 50, and only 1 kid wrote just a report. Wow.
Yeah, that was not, that's common, by the way. If you're in a room of 100 people and say, do these 3 things, and it could be as simple as, write your name on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, and mail it to me today. If you just say something simple, 90% of people won't do it. 90, 95. It's just, it's human nature. It's not, nothing you can do about it.
Wow. Tell us more about your Marketing Multipliers membership site.
So if people go over to marketingmultipliers.com, you should be in North America, actually. The U.S. is best because I send out the issues by U.S. mail. However, I do have many international members, and we could do it by PDF or email. But if you go to marketingmultipliers.com, you can request a free trial box of 11 marketing multipliers, and they'll go out by U.S. mail for $1 shipping. And if you like it, do nothing. Every month after that, you'll get another box with at least 1 tool inside to help you build your business. There are simple things like, the paper email, which I spoke about, or directions for sending thank you notes the right way. And people love these things because again, it's a lot cheaper than hiring me for $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 to write for you. Because what I'm trying to do for people is create tools so that you don't need skills. It's the same. It's the principle of, you could start a fire by rubbing sticks together for an hour, or you could strike a match. And what I'm trying to give people every month are matches, simple tools to use. So if anyone goes there and requests a free trial box for $1 shipping, just mention that you heard me on this podcast with patience, and I'll send you a free copy of my book, Marketing Multipliers, as well. That would be free of charge. That's just if you mention the Online Success Journey podcast. I'm happy to send you my book for free as well.
Wow. What sort of people do you work with? You work with the starting up, or the middle one, or the people who have already made up to 1 million plus?
So for copywriting, my copywriting for my clients for copywriting are typically $2 to $20 million businesses. They're doing well now. They want to do better. For marketing multipliers, they're typically doing anywhere from $100,000, $200,000 up to $2, $4, $5 million. So it's smaller businesses are best served by marketing multipliers, and bigger businesses, going concerns, they're the folks I work with client cloning systems.
Wow. Okay. And where can we find you, Mark, apart from your multipliers.com? Is there anywhere we can
that's
connect
the best
with you?
way. Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Kevin Donlin, Donlin, or visit www.marketingmultipliers.com, and you can learn more about me there.
What Saturday Spartans can teach you about marketing?
So 300 dead Spartans, what can they teach you about marketing? So that's a great way to wind up our interview today. So the 300 Spartans, people may be familiar with the movie 300. In 480 BC, they were defending a place called Thermopylae against 150,000 Persians. And the Spartans chose a narrow stretch of ground to defend. As a result, the Persians had to, file down, almost single file, and fight the Spartans one-on-one. So because the Spartans made a very smart decision to defend a narrow stretch of ground, they totally negated the larger numbers of the Persian army. And that was an example of a force multiplier, by the way. They chose a very smart place to make their stand. And they held out for 2 full days, so it was kind of a small miracle that they were able to do it. So what this can teach you about marketing is that you don't need a huge $1 million ad budget to make an impact. If you make a few small, smart moves, you can outmaneuver bigger competitors, and that's what marketing multipliers are designed to help you do.
Okay. So, clan, there will be more from Kevin in a moment. If you are finding Kevin's journey interesting and you are ready to hear more, come and listen to the full version of the interview at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you are on Online Success Journey already, click on part 2 of Kevin's journey and you'll get more tips and help for your own business. And don't forget, you can get access to all other Online Success Journey interviews, podcasts on the site as well. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Kevin.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com. filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.